Hi, everybody. It's Natha Perkins, Electro Astrology. I'm here with your astrology forecast for the week of November 25th through December 1st. It is a big new moon week, and we are really getting into the Sagittarius energy. Make sure to watch my Astrology for Awakening videos where I'm diving into Sagittarius all month. And I'm also talking about the asteroid series as well. So there's a lot of content for you that is designed to help you understand yourself better. And when we're talking about Sagittarius, and I'm going to go into this when I break out the charts, we're looking at this idea of what you believe, what you think you know, and the challenge that comes along with that when you think that you know it all. And situations or information or even a conversation comes across your desk, so to speak, that changes everything for you. And in Sagittarius season, while the planet Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, we go into a Mercury retrograde. Mercury is in the sign of Sagittarius. There's a lot of potential for changing your mind. So you want to look at where you have landed on your own private soapbox, where you think you know everything. And there's a lot of challenge in that. And that's one of the ways that we grow, is we challenge what we think we believe. There's an old quote that says, "Don't believe everything you think." And that one comes to mind a lot. We get really attached to our beliefs, and then we let those beliefs, which are usually old and even outdated, we let those beliefs color how we see the world. And right now, in a time of transformation, it's important that we're not relying on old and outdated beliefs to color our world, because we're transforming, we're shifting, we're changing. And that's what Sagittarius helps us to do. It zooms us out so that we can get the bigger picture and we can see more information than we've had before. Expand those beliefs. All right, let's get started. We are well into Sagittarius season. So our theme of this week is all about charting a new path, as we do with Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is that energy where we zoom out. We're out of the thick of Scorpio season, where we were down in the deep, deep waters of Scorpio trying to make sense of all of it. And now we are up above and we're scanning the environment. And we also have Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius about to go retrograde. And we have Pallas Athena, the asteroid, in the sign of Sagittarius, but not for long. So we have some big Sag energy going on this week, which you're going to feel. But I want to start off talking about this Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is in the sign of Sag, which frankly, it doesn't love to be there, because Mercury is about the mind, and the mind likes facts. It likes to be able to tie things up in a little bow, and it likes to go out searching for problems that it can solve right away. And Sagittarius is the bigger picture. So a lot of times with Sagittarius, it's like we're faced with what we believe to be true and the philosophical systems that we have resonated with, or that are just really big in nature, that have just a lot of information going on that's hard to piece through. So if Sagittarius is your inner wanderer, it's the one that's like scanning the world and traveling the world and reading the books and getting the information, having the experiences, telling the stories. Like you can get a sense of how Sagittarius is big energy, and it's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. So here we have Mercury, the planet of the mind, and the mind is really limited. I mean, we think it's not, but it is. And now it has been in the sign of Sagittarius. It's feeling a little bit like uncomfortable and a little bit like, We also have Jupiter down here, already in retrograde in the sign of Gemini. So Jupiter would rather be in Sagittarius. And of course, Mercury would way rather be in Gemini. We're working with a lot of this energy right now where we're bumping up against what I think versus what I know versus what is fact, what is just some idea, what has my felt experience been, what have I read in a book, where is my information coming from, do I trust it? I mean, this is the axis of the mind. And when we're looking at the mind, we know that it's ever changing. We can't ever say anything is 100% fact when we are talking about the mind because it relates, in the case of this Gemini Mercury energy, to our perception. And in the case of Sagittarius and Jupiter energy, it's our perspective. But both perception and perspective are pretty unique to each of us. It's very hard to have a big group of people that all share the exact same perspective and the exact same perception. And when we're talking about perception, this is like day to day, your perception can change. Minute by minute, your perception can change. You may be having the most wonderful time at a festival ever. The sun is out, it's a beautiful breeze, and then a storm blows in and it becomes a nightmare. We have to look at that as Mercury goes retrograde, that now we have to really go back and look at what we have thought was true, what we have taken as the truth. And a lot of times with the Sagittarius energy, we can be a big know-it-all. And so we have to look at our relationship to being right as well and standing on our soapbox. And we know that the last few months, there have been a lot of people on soapboxes. Okay. And it has been very easy to look at all of those soapboxes and say, oh, I believe that. Oh, that's true. Oh, yes. However, as Mercury is going retrograde, it is asking you to go back in and say, well, is that true? Do I still believe that person on that soapbox? Do I still want to be on my own personal soapbox about this? So look at it like this is an opportunity to just soften and zoom out and look at a bigger picture and know that you don't know it all and be open to new information coming on the scene and be open to softening some of your very deeply held perspectives and old beliefs and be open to what is new that might be coming in. So it can be really exciting energy. Now we're also looking at this grand fire trine as we are looking at the North Node in Aries at 4 degrees with Mars in Leo at 5 degrees and the Sun in Sagittarius at 4 degrees. So when we're looking at this grand trine, and it's a fire trine, fire is always about energy, action, moving forward. Fire is so what you see is what you get. So this is going to bring a lot of energy to the table and a lot of excitement, but we just have to be careful sometimes with these grand trines. It's like the fire could get out of control. A bonfire is fun to hang out around and roast some marshmallows on, but we don't want it to get out of control and start burning down the beach, right? So understand that you're going to want to work with this energy by being really intentional with it. You might have some things that you feel inspired about taking action on. You might feel a new sense of excitement, but know that it doesn't mean that you have to take the full action and complete the project. This might just be taking a first step or even talking about your excitement with some friends and really getting into it and start visioning and brainstorming. We do have Pallas Athena coming up to 29 degrees of Sagittarius. I will be covering Pallas Athena as I'm working my way through the asteroid teachings over the next few months. We're going to talk all about Pallas Athena, so make sure that you show up for those teachings because she is a really fascinating archetype that we all embody. Pallas Athena at 29 of Sag is our feminine warrior and Mars is the masculine warrior. And the feminine warrior really helps us to suss things out before we move into action. So this is a really helpful energy as Pallas Athena moves into 29, which is one of those very important degrees in astrology where it's a finalizing degree. And so we have to kind of look at where we've been and what we have learned, what we know, the perspectives that we have been able to understand through her transit. And I think this is going to be really helpful for us as we're doing this Sagittarius work. Because on November 30th, we move into this new moon in the sign of Sagittarius. It's going to be at 9 degrees. It is going to be in a square to Saturn. So this is reminding you that Sagittarius is a really optimistic sign. There's a lot that we get to learn about and a lot that we get to explore. However, a new moon is very internal energy. It invites us to go inside and really question, like, where have I been? What have I learned on my adventures over the last few months? What have I learned by talking to people? and sharing my stories with people, listening to their stories. Have I gotten a little out of control in some of those places? And we saw a lot of that over the last few months, people getting really out of control, feeling that their way was the right way. And I bring in this element of out of control because we're looking at Saturn. And Saturn in Pisces, remember, Pisces is boundaryless. So when we get Pisces and Sagittarius together, they're both boundaryless. They're both huge energies, and they both relate to things that are spiritual in nature. Although Sagittarius tends to err on the side of human spirituality, while Pisces can err on the side of it's too big, I don't even understand it, and therefore it's scary. But this new moon with Saturn and this energy of this new moon really invites you to go inward and seek out your own deeper understandings without necessarily needing to be right, but certainly without needing to be scared because you don't fully understand things, and you will not fully understand things probably ever, but certainly not right now while Mercury is in retrograde and Neptune is at the end of Pisces. You know, we are, speaking of cycles, I talked about cycles in my series teaching earlier. We're having to honor the cycles that are outside of us. We are ideally accepting that we are on the divine timing, and that as much as we want to know the answer now, as much as we know that we are right now, that some of that just has to be left up to the softness, the boundarylessness, and just the way that the universe itself brings us what we need and removes what we don't. And we're just along for the ride. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Be sure to tune into the series teaching, the asteroid series teaching, if you missed that, and have a wonderful week. I will be releasing later in the week a teaching on Sagittarius as a standalone teaching. So tons of good information there, and I'll see you all soon.